ended and has been extended to Tuesday, February 20. This was last week. I mean, earlier this week, and it generated a lot of controversy, and many have questioned whether some elements within the governing MPP haven't learned from what happened prior 2020 elections, where there were a lot of forces trying to manipulate the elections of local executives, members of parliament, the parliamentary aspirants, and that stuff. Let me start with you because it borders on your party. Are you surprised to have realized that there was chaos in accessing forms for the polling station executives?
Yeah, from the National Party, that we had 3 days to receive and file for nomination, 3 days. But some of the potential executives rushed to party offices and in some cases to the homes of the chairpersons of the party for the forms. If they had been patient and the suspicion and the anxiety and the fear were not there, this wouldn't have happened. And again, there are some...
I'm not cutting you. But why should the party executive take the forms home? For
I'm saying that some, based on suspicion, went to the homes of the chairpersons. But the forms were not there. They were not in their homes. We had a 9-member election committee chaired by the regional rep. The chairman of the constituency is part of the team. Secretary is part of the team. MP or his rep is there. We have the IT coordinator. We also have the research and elections member. We also have the chair of council of patrons, chair of council of elders, and an elderly woman. These are the 9 persons who were supposed to, oversee the elections there. Let me give you what happened in my constituency, because my constituency was also in the news. The chairperson of the committee on Friday, a week today, was not in town. So she said that the chairman of the constituency should go for the forms. And when she comes to Kumasi, then she will take the review of the forms. Then the committee will sit down and determine the modalities. I was in Kumasi on Thursday night. I was not part of the chairman when he went for the forms. So he got the forms and he sent the forms straight to the party office, waiting for the woman to come, for them to sit down and determine the modalities. Then, 9 p.m. that evening, I got an audio from one of the polling station executives from one particular electoral area, asking his supporters to go to the party office at 6 a.m. because somebody who is an interested party had told him that the parties were going to be distributed at 7 a.m. So they should be there around 6 a.m. That brought about the tension over there. It was needless because we have party structure. The party chairman will inform the coordinators to inform the members to come at a particular time. The committee had not met. They had even gone to the chairman's house the night of Friday. Then the following day, Saturday morning, they went to his house and they told him that he should go with them to the party office for the forms. The chairman left. They were following him, so he got scared. So he decided to drive to Sofaline police station and they followed him there. And the potential police executives insisted that they went with him to the party office to go for the forms. The police was also apprehensive. So they went there. When they went there, the forms were in the party office, not in his house. Why did they go to the house? So they went there, and the forms had not been signed and endorsed by nobody because the committee had not even met to do that. And they put pressure on him. He had to give away the forms to them he signed them, but the committee should have done all these things. Okay? That evening, the chairperson came, took the forms, the remainder, endorsed them and stamped them.
Okay.
So my point was that the party members over there in other constituencies were not patient enough. If they had been patient, because 3 days, one day you determine the modalities, the following day you can share, then the next day you can share. I'm pleading that, you see, and there were some guys, for example, I'm in Parliament, he is there. There are other guys who want to unseat us. And they are also doing all these things because the person I unseated, and in the videos, all the videos that we've seen are his supporters.
So you think he's in your case?
No, I think he is.
He's behind.
He called me and I told him, you see, in as much in as much as we want to deepen our democracy, we must make sure that we don't destroy the democracy because of our interests. You know what I mean? That's what I want to say. So what is happening? Probably I'm suggesting that next time the party should give a lengthy time so that people are clear and know when and how the process must be followed. Maybe because the forms were delivered on Friday, the next day people thought that at all costs the forms must be distributed.
A party like the MPP, known for digitization, shouldn't this be available online on the party's website so that people can easily go and or it's because certain interests, like you allege, and in fact that leads me to my substantive question, that the interests of you members of parliament and those who want to unseat you, as you rightly said, are the reason why people will want to have the forms even if it's not yet time, because we've had instances where an interested person will go for the form and he'll be told that the forms are finished.
But if the forms,
several instances,
you see, if the forms are finished and the process is followed, okay, there is another avenue for you to get some of the forms from the region and all that. In my constituency, we're giving close to 3,000. Okay, those who voted for the president were close to 62,000. We're giving 3,000. Obviously, the number wouldn't be enough. But anybody who didn't even get a form could also get a form from the region and all that. We need to be patient. I'm saying that if we had been patient and taken time, most of these things wouldn't have happened. The suspicion, the mistrust.
Is it not based on precedents? Based on the fact that some people manipulate the process and ensure that others will not get their forms?
Maybe.
We've had instances where there were allegations that some members of parliament had to even take custody of their forms in the northern region and elsewhere. In my
constituency, even those who were asked to come for the forms on Friday, they were 4. The chairperson of the committee, the chairman of the constituency, my rep, and the secretary. Okay, I decided not to be part of the committee. I was not even there. But you see, and there are some of our guys, you know what I mean, as you said, those into the party and all that who also want to come to the scene. I mean, we must do things right. Okay, do things right, and don't create some of these leaders.
Here for quite surprising what we saw in the brother. It's not different though. Even in the NDC, when you are going for your internal elections.
Yes, but in recent times, I mean, we can all see clearly that our democratic elections are being characterized by violence. And you know, charity begins at home, like father, like the son. When issues are not resolved amicably, even at the national level, and there will be issues of assault at party headquarters, then what do you expect to happen at the regions and the constituencies? As he rightly indicated, various interests, and these interests will have to be protected. In the first place, you cannot give 3 days within which this exercise is supposed to be conducted. I mean, people will be under the apprehension that if you don't act within the limited period, then your opportunity to contest for branch election is no longer there. Now, he said during the presidential primaries, over 6,000 people voted for 62,000 people voted for the president. So it means that the delegates, who are mostly the executives, are about 62,000.
No. I mean, for example, in my constituency.
No, he's talking about the general vote that the president garnered during the election, right?
Executive. In my constituency, as we speak, there are about 540 or so.
Yes.
540. So the idea is that if there's 540, then if you give 3,000 from, then you are bringing in more. That's the idea. So it doesn't mean that the 62,000
is for your
reflects.
Okay.
I mean, reflects the polling station. Okay. There's some from NDC who even voted for the president and myself.
Okay. So I'm talking relative to the primaries. What was the number?
In my primaries, the polling station executives who are delegates for the primaries in my constituency were about 540.
So how many forms do they have?
The one they gave us?
Yes, as a constituency.
About 3,000.
About 3,000.
Yeah.
So the 3,000 forms should be enough to be distributed even within a week. So if you give 3 days, what will happen is that, well, the process can be hijacked. As you said, some MPs are holding on to the form. And people who want to contest MPs, if they have the opportunity, they will also do the same. Hence the problem. Why? It is the branch executives that determine who should be the parliamentary candidates. It is these people that determines who should be the presidential candidate. Is that not the way it is in your party also? So, as somebody who wants to be a presidential candidate, you want to influence whoever should be the branch executive. Somebody who wants to be a parliamentary candidate, you want to influence who should be the branch executives. So everybody will be thinking of, but my policy is that you can win the heart of anybody who wins election in a branch as a branch executive. You do not necessarily have to dictate that it's Kweku who should be a branch chairman before a branch chairman will come and vote for you during a parliamentary election. So those with the idea that the only way they can survive is to make sure they influence branch election, they are responsible for some of these problems. Apart from the fact that the time within which they are to conduct the exercise is too short.
No, Bernard.
3 days?
No. 3 days were earmarked for form distribution. So if you even use 1 day to determine the modalities, the idea was that then you distribute them to the various electoral area coordinators. Then they will give them to those who were interested. You can do that even within a day or two. But the gravitas of what happened was that I said that mistrust, lack of patience. Because if you are patient and things are done orderly, these things wouldn't happen. They wouldn't happen, and you know that.
But certainly the mistrust will lead to lack of patience. There is a connection there.
Yeah, but
and what? So you look at the factors accounting for the mistrust and deal with them.
Don't forget that I told you that I got an audio from one of the other camps urging their members to be there at 6 a.m. when the Congress party had not even determined the modalities. Okay, so you go in there. I mean, the office was closed. The forms were in the chairman's office, not even stamped. So you put pressure on an old man to get the forms. Now the forms were not even stamped. He had to just initial them for them. But if we had waited, I don't think that this thing. So most of the things that happened could have been.
The question that he's asking is that what is giving rise to that impatience?
But
what is giving rise to the impatience is what I am talking about. That you feel you want to unseat a member of parliament, and the only way to do that is to make sure you infiltrate into the branch election. You understand?
And just to add up to that, that infiltration led to many people being angry, which resulted in the unseating of many.
Which infiltration?
I mean, the attempts to influence the local level election by, let's say, regional or national executives because they want to have direct control. The MPP paid a hefty price for it in the 2020 elections.
Yeah. We paid, but if you realize, the polling station elections at that in 2018, we didn't witness what we are witnessing right now. If you could check.
A lot of people were unhappy. A lot of people, there were allegations. People said they were deliberately.
I think the promise brought about issues because if you unseat someone, their supporters are more likely not to be happy with you and all that. You need to. Try to bridge, the gaps and all that. These are obvious in politics. These things happen. But you see, for the interested parties, as we speak, if it's even contesting an election and there are other aspirants, they also have a mindset, person they want. Okay, you have your people, they also have their people. That is normal, it happens. But that doesn't mean that you should scatter the process when the guidelines have not been given. If the guidelines are given and they are abused, that is different. Bernard, that is different.
You see, my brother, the fact is that those who want to contest a sitting MP, they have a notion that you contested the primaries with me and I lost. The existing branch executives who voted for you, if they are still there, they will not be successful in removing you because they are likely to vote for you again. So with this notion, they want to infiltrate and remove most of the branch executives and rather put their favorite.
I have covered a lot of elections of this nature, both NDC, MPP, so and I've seen how,
the person,
of course, Doc, you can't run away from the fact that
with you,
how members of parliament and those who want to unseat them will engage in a lot of dubious means to ensure that their persons become the branch executives.
In politics, we are not human beings. We are not the same. We don't think the same. Others might not. In politics, everybody wants to get advantage. Why do we have, polling agents and all that? We do that. These things are obvious in politics. But my point is that we need to be patient to follow laid down procedures. And I agree with him that the fact that if you have even influenced the process, it doesn't mean that automatically you're going to win the next election. It doesn't mean that. But people, out of anxiety and fear, try to create tension when these exercises are going on. I won the elections during our promise in 2020. 2018, I didn't even have a hand in whatever happened. No tension, nothing. But I won. Okay, so, and I believe that in life, God determines our path and all that. You do your best, you leave the rest to God to continue. But we shouldn't allow suspicion, we shouldn't allow to determine how we approach some of these national and local exercises.
So, Kingsley, let me place on record that I am in my third term in Parliament. I have never taken part in branch election. That is the responsibility of the constituency executives. I, as a member of Parliament or a person intending to contest primary, I have never taken part.
Is it because you ensured the executives are on your side?
I have a way of winning the heart of anybody who is elected as a branch
inducing the person?
Executive. Not inducing the person. It's a personality issue. The way you relate with the people. You understand? You may be brought in to come and sacrifice me, but getting closer to me, you realize that heard about this particular person is a wrong picture. So why can't I rather follow this particular person?
Let's try and touch on our last subject. Time will not permit us to do more on it, but it ties in with the minorities' push for a bipartisan committee to look into COVID-19 related expenditure. There was a private member's motion that was dismissed by the first deputy speaker. In fact, the Speaker of Parliament, Sumana Bagbin, came back and was unhappy. Yesterday, he has been captured by the Ghanaian Times as saying, overruling my decisions unconstitutional. In fact, he was, in the video that went round, he was visibly angry with the second incident of the first deputy speaker overruling his decision. But if you look at the details of the majority caucus is of the view that there is Public Accounts Committee. The Auditor General will certainly look into the COVID-related expenditure. Why is the minority jumping the gun then?
Well, thank you very much for asking this salient question. Clearly, as we indicate, Parliament is a master of its own procedure and its own rules. Let me take you back. There was an investigation into cash for seat. Does it mean we don't have committee on trade? There was an investigation into Sputnik V, of which I was a member. Does it mean we don't have committee responsible for health?
Was it not because of the issues that came, issues surrounding the Sputnik?
If the reasoning is that we have a committee responsible to deal with, for that matter, a special or ad hoc committee cannot be put in place. That was the reason given by the first deputy speaker. Then the question therefore is that where was the committee responsible for trade was put in place to investigate cash for seat? Where was the committee on health before a ad hoc committee was put in place to investigate? I believed that any matter of public or national importance, that attention of Parliament is drawn into it. Parliament can form a committee.
In the case of Sputnik V, the ranking member on the committee,
yes,
Honorable Minta Kando,
yes,
conducted his own investigation, came out with figures that were varying to what the health minister had to the country.
Yes.
And it's needed an urgent look into that matter, so understandable.
Yes.
In the case of conducting audits into
so you agree with me that the reason for overturning the decision of the speaker is not cogent? If that is the point you are making, that in the case of the Sputnik V, though we have a health committee of Parliament, but an ad hoc committee was put in place to investigate the matter. Because the reason given by the speaker, the first deputy speaker, is what I'm tackling first, by starting that we are masters of our own rules, and that there are several committees that probe into several matters when the substantive committee is there. Now, similarly, if you listen to the mover of the motion, Honorable Ato Forson, the ranking member for Finance Committee, he has indicated clearly that the figures were not, as a result of which there will be the need to form an ad hoc committee to investigate into the matter. So to say that we have a committee responsible for health, therefore an ad hoc committee cannot be formed, the least said about it, the better. Now, if a speaker has taken a decision and you have taken over, the question therefore is that, can you reverse that decision of the speaker and it will be constitutional? Let's face the reality and call a spade, but not a long fork. Now, where was the Auditor General when we delve into the matter involving payment of cash in Sputnik V?
In this case, I feel if you look at 187 and other 919 of the House.
Yes.
Which it opposes duplicity of this exercise.
I look at it differently. Order 191. I look at it differently. If you look at order 191, you realize that 191. You realize that there was a semicolon there. What is the essence of the semicolon? Why didn't they use the conjunctive word and? You understand? So the emphasis of 191 is on bills. That is where they separated the two by the use of semicolon. So when a matter is of public interest, Parliament can constitute a bipartisan committee to investigate into the matter.
I'll come back.
You see, in drafting, whatever word that is used, you have to take it seriously. This issue of semicolon or and is very important.
No, we are turning the conversation to a legal.
You understand? No, that is what you take into consideration in interpretation.
Doc, the minorities of the view that you received funds on behalf of the citizens to manage a crisis. We are still in the crisis, but you've received a lot, and they want you to account for it using a bipartisan or ad hoc committee. And they're asking, if you have nothing to hide, why are you running away from this exercise?
No, nobody has nothing to hide. It's just a matter of procedure. And what the minority sought to do for me was not adhering to the right procedure. Speaker admitted it. And for me, Speaker is somebody who is respected, and I hold him in high esteem. He get everything right. You remember sometime last year, around June or July, there was a bipartisan inquiry into Sputnik V, Sheikh Ahmad, remember? It was admitted by the Speaker. The committee was set up to investigate the contract, right? Nobody opposed that because the remit was different from what they are seeking to do right now. And as you rightly said, Order 191 of our order says the House may at any time by motion appoint special or ad hoc committee.
You can speed up with the. We should not talk
to
much.
investigate any matter of public importance. To consider any bill that does not come under the jurisdiction of any of the standing or select committees. So that was why it is clear that the Public Accounts Committee has or is clothed with the power, the jurisdiction to look into it. The Public Accounts Committee will do that. The reports will be brought to the House, will be referred to the Public Accounts Committee, and their report comes to us for debate. So they were just jumping the gun. You have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. Let the Public Accounts Committee bring its report on the expenditures of the Health Ministry, and we'll look into it. Don't forget that last year, the minority, two of them, I think Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, and one other, I think, person, had written to the Auditor General, brought during the 3-week lockdown. Why did they write to the General to look into it? But this time, there is a different approach.
Okay,
so this is inconsistency. They are trying to do that to cut hatred for the government, but I'm putting on record that the government had nothing to hide, had done nothing untoward, and the Public Accounts Committee will bring full disclosure to whatever expenditures that were incurred during that period.
You see, let's get the procedure right that parliamentary committees act on a referral. So first of all, for a parliamentary committee to take over a matter, it must come to the floor and be referred to that particular committee. Now this matter have not come to the floor. It is now coming to the floor to form a committee to investigate into the matter. That is why I'm asking that investigation has gone into the Sputnik V. We have heard from and then Sputnik V, the purchase of the coronavirus vaccine it's a matter bordering on health, and we have health committee. But we form a committee to investigate into the matter.
The committee has done the investigation. Setting a precedent where anytime there is an expenditure, the function of the auditor general department is being taken away?
And even the committee is bipartisan.
That is why the rule.
We have 5 seconds to
the
go.
rule is saying that
Public Account Committee is
if it is a matter
almost
of public importance,
and
not that every rule of the auditor general, we feel that this is a matter of public importance, very high public importance.
Other audits conducted by the auditor general is not a matter of public importance.
It is of a public importance, but some are directly under the purview of the auditor general. And Parliament can form a committee to investigate the matter.
Thank you.
They are trying to run away from the truth.
MP for Akachi South. Thank you, Dr. Kingsley Nyako, MP. Join us same time next week as we come your way with the major headlines in the papers. My name is Sani Abdurrahman. Do enjoy the rest of our program.